Just a really quick video. Most FPV pilots or more serious freestyle pilots use ND filters now, and they come in various different shapes and sizes. And the one I used up until recently is this guy, which is the TBS ND filter, and I commonly use ND8, although if it's really sunny I'll sometimes go to ND16. And these guys are really good. They're pretty thick, but the problem with them is if you're using them on a Hero 7 as I am, you have to use sort of these 3D printed mounts which push over the lens of the camera, and the first time that you hit scraggle in a tree or crash, invariably this thing pops off and this disappears and you're out of whatever these cost, £5 or £6. And I got sick of losing these things, so I've been looking at alternatives. So I looked at the Ethics Mr. Steel version, which is a sort of sticky, thinner version of this. But until recently they only came in ND4, which is next to useless. And the problem with them is that they're so thin that they basically can break in your fingers, and they're really cheaply made, and they're not cheap either at sort of £9 or £10. The best ND filters you can really get for the Hero is the Polarpro filters, but they retail for about 90 quid, 100 quid for a set of 3 or 4, and given that we're likely to break these guys really easily, I did some shopping around and I got these from Banggood, and they're essentially the same thing. In fact, when I was flying with my buddy who has the original Polarpro version, he said he preferred the way these connected on the back compared to the Polarpro. And these work great, but they have a huge flaw, which you can see in this footage here, which is because they've designed them like the Polarpros in this gold colour, the light reflects off the inside and you get these horrible halo rings which completely remove the purpose of getting them in the first place. So, quick tip for you: if you've got a heat gun, simply warm this guy up, get something to press inside, and you'll see that it's basically just seated almost like on foam tape on the inside. And all I'm going to do is quickly just paint with a bit of black acrylic the inside of the case. She'll take me all of 2 minutes, and I'll just heat this back up again, which will bring the stickiness back to the surround, clean this and pop it back in again. And there we go. So I literally just slapped a bit of acrylic paint on the inside, and I've also done the inside of the lens area just for good measure. Quick heat gun to dry it, and I'm going to take my filter, shove it back in again, shove it into position with a rag, and there we have it, a Polarpro ND filter that costs you £8 as opposed to 30 odd quid, and it is now perfect for what we need because it basically replaces the GoPro glass lens. It means that you don't have to fanny around going to find these every time they fall off, and if you break them they're easily replaceable. So there you go, quick tip. And if you find for some reason that it's not sticking in properly, then just put a tiny little bit of glue around the outside lip. Cheers guys, thanks, bye bye.